So, welcome to the very first community hangout sessions with Tiago Meireles. Do I say it right? Or
Hi guys, what's up? Yeah, Tiago Meireles, but
Tiago
like
Meireles?
foreign people have a lot of hard time like trying to pronounce Meireles
Yeah,
because of the R. I think so. They say Meireles or Meireles, but
Meireles.
it's Tiago Meireles. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're from Portugal, right?
Yes,
All
that's
right,
right, correct.
all right, cool. So, yeah, in these sessions, I wanted to do like a human kind of talk to each other, like see what
Mm.
you're doing, of course, with music, because that's what the community is about. But I would like to see what things you are struggling with in music and see what things you find fun. And that way we can find out how you can help other people in music. But
Mm.
it's also very interesting, I think, for every artist to find out that other artists also have their struggles. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, these days there are a lot of artists that just buy followers and plays and streams and stuff like that, and they have a perfectly looking Insta, and I think we all post the fun parts on Insta. I don't blame that, but I think it's good to know that making music and trying to get higher up in this industry is pretty hard. As you said before we started the interview officially, you work like hours and hours and hours. So I want to know
Mhm.
what parts of music you find hard and how you handle those moments as well. So I would love to hear that, and that's why I started the series. But
Mm.
first, please tell me a bit more about yourself. What are you doing in music? For how long have you been doing it? That kind of stuff.
Okay, so I started producing like 4 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I started like digging really into it, like electronic music specifically, like 3 years ago. So I
Okay.
studied like flute on a music academy, like
Mm-hmm.
transversal flute,
Oh wow.
and I, I also played the piano. So I liked to play the piano and the flute at the same time. So that
Okay.
was impossible.
Yeah.
So like my teacher told me about a piece of software, the Audacity.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that, and I could record my piano and the flute at the same time, and like I would do like the twins edits, like me playing flute and playing
Mm-hmm.
piano at the same in the same video,
Yeah.
and I delivered that work for school and stuff, and it
Okay.
was really fun and nice.
Okay.
I started to look into more software. I discovered FL Studio,
Mm-hmm.
and
For the win.
discovered that
Yeah.
I could have the strings orchestra. I could make a full orchestra playing with me. Like that blew my mind, and I started digging more into it. And I decided that I wanted to do that for life, producing
Okay.
for me and for other. So I
Okay.
discovered Jobber, where I'm studying right now, music production,
How is that
and
called? Sorry.
so Jobra in Portuguese,
Jobra.
Jobra,
Okay.
Jobra.
And
Mhm.
that's the name of the
And
course or the study or
no, it's the name of the institution.
the institution. Yeah. Okay.
The course is TPTM, which means Professional Music Sound Technician, Técnico
Okay.
Profissional de Música. Sim. Um, and met friends there, my colleagues, and
Mm-hmm.
they all of them like they were there to make electronic music. I had no contact with electronic music before because I was a classical student,
Mm-hmm.
so it's Mozart, Vivaldi, Chopin, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I just found a virtual riot at that time, and like
So he was a big
virtual
inspiration. And
riot.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he at the time he did a lot of orchestral stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but with growls and dubstep sounds, and I just loved it. Like the fusion of a lot of he could touch like a lot of people, like classical musicians and producers and rappers, and I just that blew my mind because in music I want to touch the maximum of people I can.
Yeah.
So that's why I made a lot of styles like future bass, house, trap. Yeah,
Okay, so is it
that's how I
mainly
found.
a strategic choice to make multiple genres, like to strategically grow into the music industry, or is it also because you like the other genres and you want to see how they fit together, or what's your main reason for combining it?
I think it's like a mix of the both options,
Yeah.
because like it's not a really good thing, honestly, to have a lot of genres.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if I want to hear house, I search Jonas Eden and hit shuffle play. If I want to use sad songs, I search Eden and shuffle play.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to hear like house made by me, they are going to shuffle play, and they will start hearing lo-fi beat, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not a really good, but at the same time it is, because like specific songs I can bring more how do you say, crowd to my more attention to my profile.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
a good thing and a bad thing at the same.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you mean, but yeah, I think that if you lay the focus on like making what you like, and maybe you don't have to publish anything, or everything. I mean, um, as long as you like producing and like what you make, I think that's the most important part. And of course, you can somehow
Absolutely.
strategically try to figure out what sounds to post under one name, or maybe create an alias, but. Um, I see like a lot of big artists that create different genres as well. If you look at Skrillex or Marshmello, the type of sounds that they make, of course, you hear the same stuff on radio, but they are very versatile as well. But they are big; they don't need the attention, so they do it just for the fun of it. And yeah,
Because
I
they
think
want.
that's different for if you compare it to our situation or other upcoming artists. They have to uh, grab attention at specific genres. So I get what you mean
Mhm.
there. But, so you have the idea that you're now. What
Like
genres are you mainly focused on right now?
right now I'm doing a lot of house stuff, bass house,
Hmm.
electro, like the standard 4x4 kick.
Yeah.
And sometimes like for my final project at school, I'm doing future bass. So like lately I've trying to mix a lot of genres. Like I do a house drop and the break is trap, something like that. Like I'm trying to mix the genres to respect one static of
Hmm.
my profile, but at the same time show people it's always that feeling like this is what I can do. Like it doesn't stop here. It's not a 4x4 kick with a bass on sidechain. Like you can do this and you can go crazy with sound design, of course. So
Hmm.
it's like lately I've been trying to respect the house aesthetics,
Hmm.
but improving the sounds and using different genres sounds.
Okay. And what is the reason that you mainly focus on those sounds right now, or that you currently love that sound, or what makes it special to you right now?
Like I like I like when people are listening to my tracks and they hear something that it's really strange. Like I'm producing a track, it's a collab with a friend, I can tell right now,
Hmm.
and it's going on a label that I already told you.
Hmm.
And like for the drop, the lead sound is a pen that I recorded, my mom pen,
Hmm.
and the curve hitting the pen, but with a lot of effects, compression, distortion, some reverb, delay, and
Hmm.
it sounds really weird. Like you hear that and you're like, okay, how did it do that? And I think it's a really good feeling, like when a producer hears something and it takes a long time trying to figure it out what the sound is, because
Yeah.
we all producers try to do that. So I think that's what I've been doing lately, like using weird sounds but respecting the
But is that
aesthetics of a genre.
but I meant like why are you currently focusing on house mainly? Is it like that you um, feel like you can in house music use that where it sounds better right now, or what is the reason that you mainly focus on house now and on that aesthetics?
I think it's really about the structure of the house. Like you have an intro, build up, drop, and house like you can do really weird stuff on the extended mix,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most known genre for using extended mixes.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's not weird if you're like you hearing a trap beat. Oh, well, like if you're hearing a trap or a future bass and you start hearing the house drum loop, it sounds really off the place,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. But if you're hearing like a house song and suddenly you hear another genre, I think it's a good surprise and a healthy surprise to your ears. So I think
Yeah,
that's why I'm mostly doing house lately.
because you
And for
find it.
influences,
Yeah, you feel like house music is easy to transpose into other genres, and it's friendly to mix with other genres. If I get you.
Yeah, and it is like the most how do I say, the genre that gets more attention. Like if I ask a friend of mine, it's who is not studying music production, like, do you know
Mm-hmm.
what future bass is? He's going to be like, I have no idea. But if I told him house, Fisher, or like most of the trending pop songs, for example,
Mm-hmm.
are mainly house. So
Yeah.
that's why, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a part of strategy as well because house is recently the last 2 years pretty rising, pretty hard and taking over like even main stage features and stuff like that against the EDM big room bubble that there was like a few years ago. It looks like house tech house is now the thing. So it's mainly also a strategic choice to go into the house genres right now more.
Yeah, and the young DJs starting their career, they
Hmm.
are going to start with house because it's probably the most simple and the most complex style to mix at the same time.
Mm.
But like the extended mix help a lot of producers. So I think it's the like the strategic way doing house songs. It's like for reaching big DJs and the DJs that are starting out because
Yeah.
they are going to become big if they continue. So I think it's a strategic way, and uh, like I like the style too. It's not only because it gets attention.
No, no, exactly. Yeah, yeah, okay. And what part of the, if you look at the production side of things, what part of the music production do you find the most fun? And yeah, what part do you adore about music production?
I think it's the sound design. Like you
Hmm.
can do a really cool melody, but once you start like adding pitchform stuff and some weird plugins, it kind of changes the melody. So I think it's like when I'm producing and I start doing random stuff. I just open random plugins
Hmm.
and I get to a point that wow, this sounds nice. I have no idea how I did it.
Yeah.
Like for example, doing like four times how do I say it, FEMing
Hmm.
on a synth at the same time, and it starts sounds really weird. But then you freeze it, resample it, and you can arrange the notes and do really cool things. So I think that's the most funniest part of my creative process. It's like sound design,
Yeah. So
and
like,
probably the most important too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, to make it more like of your own stuff, like your own sound. That's what you mean. Yeah.
absolutely.
So uh, why does it make it the most fun part? Because of the fact that you don't know what you're gonna get out of it, or that you don't know where to start? What makes it so much fun? That moment, I get what you mean. Like that moment when you created something and you're trying to figure out how you did it to maybe try it another time, but you already forgot because it's there. But uh,
Mhm.
is it that feeling, or what makes it so special that moment?
I like the feeling of being amazed by something. Okay, this will sound really bad, but I'm
Just go
sometimes
ahead.
amazed by the thing that I did. Like, how did I do that? Like, I do that face. Wow, that sounds really good, and
Yeah.
I just did it on my software, and like trying to explain why. Okay, so I put a reverb after the distortion, but why this weird glitch effect happens?
Yeah.
With this specific template of reverb, so preset of reverb. So I think that's the feeling, like being amazed by things that you can't explain, only like digging really into it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the really good
Uh,
feeling.
yeah. So the part of like being surprised by just trying to push some buttons and something cool's come out, and you didn't know how you did it, but that surprise that makes it for you.
And then you need to have some how do I say, technical skills to like, the sound is never perfect, like can have a lot of mixing issues
Yeah.
or a really long decay. So you need to do the sound and learn how to fix it without
Hmm.
erasing the thing that you did. So
Yeah.
I think that's the most tedious part, like trying to fix a good sound, if that
Like a
makes sense.
challenge. Yeah. Yeah. So the challenge of it. Yeah. And
Hmm.
what part of like production do you find the hardest? And um, yeah, how do you handle that part? Like I can imagine that everybody has certain areas in production that they find um, hard or demotivating, and they just feel like, oh, I want to quit this. Let's stop for today. But how do you get over that? How do you fix that feeling?
Okay, so I know that a lot of people that I teach production and a lot of artists that I collaborate to, there is a feeling like when you're doing a track and you go to Spotify, try to get some creativity, and you listen those professional master tracks like with the perfect high hand, the bass is really controlled and compressed,
Hmm.
and I think that kind of brings you down because you were like while you were producing, okay, this sounds really good, like I can get this on a really good big label, and then you go to Spotify and hear other artists and just feel destroyed. I think that's the word.
Hmm.
And that's something that I've been feeling lately, like when I try to mix my tracks with other tracks, I feel like it's good, the track, but it does not sound professional, because
Yeah.
I think that a lot of musical producers like disrespect the importance of a good high hand,
Yeah.
and the importance of hearing the song on multiple speakers. Like if the song sounds good on your speakers, does not mean that it will sound good on your phone. The
Hmm.
phone can't reproduce the bass, and there are some really good techniques that you can use to master your song, because master is a really dark magic and no one understands how it
Hmm.
really works. But I think it's really important, like a producer hears a lot of tracks and don't give up, like of hearing the professionality of the other tracks. Try always to, I keep talking about the high end because it's a really, really, really good important thing. Because my phone right here is not going to reproduce the sub. You understand? But if
Hmm.
I distort the sub and add some higher harmonics, it's going to feel like it's there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that a good producer needs to think where are my listeners going to hear my songs.
Hmm.
So in my case, I do a lot of house songs, and that's what I've been doing lately. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to please the iPhone and Android users,
Yeah.
which are my friends, but also the producers that are going to hear the music on a good speaker,
Yeah.
and also the DJs that are going to play my music on big shows. So
Yeah.
it's really
And
hard
what?
to
Yeah.
please
And what
the
part
groups.
in the production do you find hard then? In that case, is it like what you mentioned that making it sound as pro as pro text? Is that what you find hard in production?
Okay, it's like
Is still there, or is it?
sorry, my internet, I think it broke. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. No problem. Um, I was wondering about the production side of things. What part do you still find hard? Because you mentioned like sometimes when I mix in my own track, I feel like if you compare it to like professional big names, it still feels a bit lower. And I get that feeling, but is that what you find the hardest part in production at this moment, or is there something else that really could bother you when producing?
I'm not sure if it's the hardest part, because like I know how to make the song sound professional in the mastering and mixing process. I think it's the most tedious part, because like I can't just go to the master and raise 100 hertz 1 decibel. I need to go find the specific sound that I want to stand out in the mix, and try to apply the techniques that all we producers do, like try to compress a specific region with a multiband compressor, or use a Fab Filter Saturn, which is a multiband saturator, and try to distort a specific region that I want people to hear better. In this
Yeah.
case, the low end, because the importance of the low end being perfectly mixed with a kick on electronic music
Yeah.
on a phone. When I started making music, you would only hear like the kick and no bass, and that sounds really, because the kick is already a sample
Yeah.
treated by a much better producer than me, and the bass is something that I try to create. So I think it's really good, like people try to understand professional presets, how they work and
Yeah.
why do they work,
Yeah, but
and
what
it's
part do
really
you
good.
find hard in production? I was wondering what part you are still struggling with, like in music production. I bet there's something that you uh, sometimes feel like not sure about or anxious about, that it's not good enough, or like something you're struggling for with hours, like the thing that takes the most work in your productions, or what are you still struggling with in music, in production?
I think it's like trying to like melodies, for example. It's you need to a melody which works, so sometimes it's hard, but you then need a sound that works too. So I
Hmm.
think that the whole process of making things sound good, it's the most hard part, because I can make a house song in like a day, a full
Hmm.
house song, but make it sound professional. I think that's the hardest part, as I was saying.
Yeah,
Like good mix and a good master, like to stand out the song. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
I think
So
that's the hardest.
why do you think that makes it hard? What makes it hard for you, that like making it professional?
Because there are a lot of techniques that you can use, and if you're like following a specific technique, you cannot start doing other techniques at the same time. So I think it's being selective and
Yeah, like
know what
making
works for your
choices.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like making the right choices for that track, because you feel like I could use all these things, but which one will make it better? Because if I start using this way, then we're 1, 2, 3 hours ahead, and maybe it could have sounded better with the other way. It's like that part.
Yeah, but you are going to feel a lot of, I think the word is hearing fatigue. Like
Mm,
when I master a song and it sounds good to me, but I send it to a friend and he's like, I'm feeling a lack of bass or something. I can't feel the high end.
yeah,
And like when you start having hearing fatigue, I think that's nothing that can help you. So you need to send it to another friend to give it their feedback and their artistic look at it, because when we are like spending 16 hours making a track,
yeah.
we cannot hear the track anymore.
No.
So it's
So
really frustrating.
that would be like your tip, if you are struggling with making it sound professional altogether, the whole production. Your best advice at this moment would be send it to other producers, other friends, to listen to it and let them give feedback on it. If I get it right.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
best tip. And hearing on different speakers, like the laptop speakers, your phone speakers, your car dad speaker, that's a really good
Yeah.
tip actually.
So feedback and comparing on different sound systems. That would be the,
Yes.
if I grab one thing out that I can share with people, like this is the tip he gave me, then that's it for production
Yeah,
part. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
But like choose your friends wisely, because if I send this to my mother, she's going to say that she loves it. But if
yeah,
I send it to you and you feel something is raised, so I
yeah,
think it's really important to choose the person that you send them. So yeah, that's my
yeah,
biggest tip, I think.
yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, like I'm gonna just hit a few shorter questions, and I'm just curious what you would choose and why you would choose it. So, what would
Okay.
you like to produce more? An original song, or a remix or bootleg?
I really like remixes, but like when I have the steams to work.
Hmm.
But our original song is really good sometimes. But I think that the thing that I like most to do is remixes,
Yeah.
like getting an idea made by other person and transforming it into anything, nothing like that. I can, for example, say are you familiarized with the genre fado? Is a Portuguese genre, like
Hmm.
a specific guitar tone and the voice. It's the genre fado, and I worked with a really talented producer, which is called Mema, and I
Hmm.
remixed their song and made a house like Brazilian bass, and people hear it and like recognize the things from her song, but in a
Yeah.
different genre. So I think that's the really most funniest part.
So you choose for a remix because you feel like you can mix the creativity from your own perspective and someone else's to one piece. That makes a remix more fun for you. Okay.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
solo production, solo releasing, or collabs. It's a hard one,
Solo
right?
production. Yeah, I think like if the collab, like sometimes there is like a different interest on collabing. Like if
Hmm.
the artist is much bigger than me, like I'm super interested on collabing with him,
Yeah.
like because he knows better techniques than me and can give me some tips,
Hmm.
and he has a bigger crowd. So I think
Yeah.
like collab is a really important thing with bigger artists, but it's hard getting a big artist to want to collab with you. So
Yeah.
I think I choose collab. Yeah,
Yeah.
collab.
Collab for
Absolutely.
now. Okay.
Mhm.
um, Self-releasing or label releasing.
If you can equilibrate both, that's a good thing. Like
Hmm.
releasing a song on a really good label, and then having some songs with self-release, and
Hmm.
the listeners that come from the big label are going to listen to your song. So it's really important, like when you're doing self-release, to get some income. I think that's the reason why I do some self releases. Honestly,
Hmm.
is because I need some income, because like there are some expenses that I need to pay related to
Yeah.
music. Like I promote a lot of my tracks. I
Yeah.
use a promotion agency, so I think that getting a caliber, how do I say it? Like getting
Hmm.
a middle point between the two options
Yeah.
is the really important part.
Yeah. So you would choose like label releases to get the attention of an audience, to grow your following, your audience, and then you would release some self-releases in the hope that the followers that you gained will like that style, and you can keep all income from that instead of sharing it.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Because when you do a song for a label, you're
Hmm.
trying to respect the taste of the label. But
Hmm.
when you do self-release, it's the thing that you really like to do. So a
Yeah.
middle point is really healthy. On a
So both important in your opinion. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Um, I was just wondering, how much do you work on music, and are you always happy to work on music, or is it like you have struggles with that sometime, getting motivated
Mhm.
and stuff, or inspired as well?
Like I every day for the past 3 years, I open Ableton, not
Yeah.
Ableton, but I open a DAW like or
Yeah.
FL Studio or Ableton. I started using Ableton 2 years ago. FL Studio I used three, and I don't make music every day, so it's really good to open the door every day and try to develop skills like understanding shortcuts or understanding how a specific plugin works. And
Hmm.
I think that if you're buying a new plugin and trying out a new plugin, you need really to understand the full power of the plugin. So I
Hmm.
think that's the most important thing related to that. Like you don't need to make music every day, but you
Hmm.
need to, if you can, like open your door every day and try to seek how the things work and why do they work.
Yeah. So like, you're trying to work. You work on music in some way every day, but are you always happy about working on music, or do you also have some moments that you're struggling with it to get motivated or stuff like that?
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
when I hear a really good song on Spotify and I try to remake it, I n- like 90% of the time I can't remake it like the original because I don't have the same plugins, I don't have the same sounds.
Yeah.
But like it's a really good thing trying to remake a song and go another way because you're starting to develop your own style.
Hmm.
But it's really frustrating when you're trying to do a specific sound or specific like something simple like a rhythm of a drum loop, and
Yeah.
it's really frustrating when you can't do it.
Yeah. And if you feel getting frustrated a bit or demotivated, how do you handle that? How do you like uh, get that aside and get productive again, or do you just leave it for a moment to be and come back in an hour, or how do you handle it? The feeling.
There are different things. Like something that I did some time ago was like opening old projects and try to make them sound better, like with the new techniques that I learned and the new plugins I bought.
Hmm.
But like watching tutorials, seeing someone do and the way that they do, I think that gets me really creative. So what like my tip will be watch tutorials and try to learn anything from them and try to develop your own skills, not based on tutorials but based on your own knowledge, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So you, if you get stuck into one part of music related uh, things like if it is sound designing or building a track or mixing mastering, if you feel frustrated about that part, you just try to do something other but music related to stay productive? Or can it be something different as well, like playing a video game or watching TV? Or do you try to keep your focus on music but another part to get productive again?
It's a really good thing, like sometimes doing breaks,
Mm-hmm.
because you have limits, like a human being. You can't be like a full day producing, so you
No.
need to do some breaks, and that's really important. And I think producers don't respect the breaks. Me myself, I don't respect breaks, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really important thing
I hate them. Yeah.
to clear your mind. Yeah, you need to clear your mind and hear other things. Like playing a game is a really good thing. Hearing
Mm-hmm.
the soundtrack, hearing like the games that have a really good spatial thing around your head. So it's really good. Like try to entertain yourself, multi multimedia things, but not
Mm-hmm.
music related if you can, because like the non-musical, in my opinion, are the things that motivate you the most. And it's really weird and makes no sense, but like if you go play a game and you hear I don't know, like a cool rhythm of a guy falling down,
Yeah.
it's a really good idea. Try to incorporate that in your productions.
Yeah.
If that
So
makes
even
sense.
if you're trying to rest, you are still trying to get inspired by that things.
No, I actually like let them appear. I don't search for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just trying to enjoy my game. And
Okay.
if I hear something cool, okay, pause, open Ableton,
Okay.
not forget the idea. It's really important. If you get an idea, record on your microphone of your phone. Like you are going to forget it in 10 minutes if you get a
Yeah.
really good
Exactly.
idea.
But you can
Yeah.
get your rest. Like you can get out of the production sound engineer producer mode sometimes by doing something else. Or is it hard?
It, it's not hard. It's like you feel less productive, but it's a really necessary thing to, like,
Yeah.
go on Discord, talk little bit with your buddies, or go see how your mom and dad are doing. Like, try to do a different thing to make your brain try to rest a little bit, and then go back to production and make awesome bangers. I
Yeah.
think that's the word.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think that to be honest with you, personally, for me, I feel like taking breaks and doing other things than working on music related stuff is really really hard. I can like I feel so unproductive if I go like lay on my couch for an hour and just watch TV. But people try to make me all the time. But I feel like it's yeah. I feel like it's a terrible feeling. But I have struggles with that, with leaving that or letting that go. So yeah, sometimes I try to play a video game or like something like that. But
Mm.
after 10, 15 minutes, I feel like I need to do something. So do you have that feeling, and how do you handle that? Or isn't that aren't you struggling with that? That's possible, of course.
Like, I struggle a little bit, but I try to get that mindset. Like, I I'm less productive hearing a four loop bar whole day than doing a break and making a song in 1 hour. So it's like, if you're like doing something for a really long time and it just don't work, you need to
Mhm.
stop, do something else, non-music related. It's really important. Like, don't go hear music. Like, try to do something non-music related, and then you are going to miss the production feeling. Like, God, I wish I was like making a song right now. And
Yeah,
feeling that, it's really good, because when you get to the your door, you are going to get so much ideas and creativity. So it's
yeah,
like, it's good to sometimes feel the miss. I think that's the word.
yeah.
Feel the missing of making music.
To
That's my
get
best
to
tip.
get the feeling of want to do it um,
Yes.
even more after a while. Yeah. So you when you have the feeling like, oh shit, I'm not being productive, you just think, yeah, but I need this break to be more productive later, and that then it works for you.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely. Mhm.
cool. So I want to finish off with one thing. I think it's important for the community as well, and maybe other people that are watching. Like when you finish the track, what is the number one tip you got when it comes to self-released tracks? I think for now, because that's the most relevant to most people watching. What is the number one trick to promote your track when you self-release the track? What's the thing you do?
Marketing related.
Yeah,
Okay.
like is there a good promo tool you know, or is there like simple trick or a strategy you use to uh, yeah, to boost it like
I
when
think
it's just released?
there are like really different techniques that you can do. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you we are talking about EDM specific, like
Yeah.
promoting your track. Like when you're beginning, no one is going. Honestly, no one is going to hear your song on Spotify
No.
specifically. So I think having a good visual on YouTube, like YouTube, is where all the producers start, not SoundCloud, because my girlfriend does not have a SoundCloud account. She has a YouTube account, of course, because she watches video, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really important. Like try to promote the things that you are making music on platforms that you know that your friends, because they are going to be your first followers, your friends, absolutely, are
Mm-hmm.
going to watch the songs. Like till this day, if one friend of mine wants to
Mm-hmm.
show one of my songs to his friend, he's going to search it on YouTube. He's not going to Spotify. So,
Yeah.
like in the beginning of your career, do not waste time because it's going to be a waste of time and money on promoting on like musical digital stores. Like try to promoting like with a funny video
Yeah.
on Instagram. For example, I made the Astronomia remix and I sent it to some meme pages, and they used it on like DJs having faults and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I received a lot of messages, like
Mm-hmm.
people like telling the song was good. Like I made that song in 2 hours, I think. It's one of the worst songs that I've ever made lately, and
Yeah.
it's getting so much attention because like it's a meme song. So I think the really good tip to promote your stuff is like do not promote your music, promote yourself and something,
Mm-hmm.
and the music is on the background. If the people that liked it, the
Yeah.
music, they are going to check it out and save it. So I think that's the best tip I can give.
Yeah. So you would say don't underestimate the power of visuals next to your
Yes.
music, and try to make that like a brand as well. So and I hear you say like YouTube, like don't forget YouTube because it is the biggest streaming platform out there, even though it's not focused on music, but there
Yes.
are a lot of people there and everybody can check your music on there. It's not tied to an
Something
account.
that I've been looking lately. Like if I found a new producer, like I found this producer some time ago, DMNX is really 14-year-old, I think, and he's
Yeah.
really good, really talented.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
but when he sends me songs, like y- you can't make a post on Instagram and had a visualizer. Like no one is going to like it if you're not big, if you're not known. And I think you need to really choose the first thing that is going to grab attention from the people is the
Mm-hmm.
visual things. So like having a good video clip or a meme. Like I made a meme song, a meme remix, and it blew up. So if it's really important to not focus on the music while promoting when you're starting, but on
Mm-hmm.
the visual stuff. Like having a good cover art is really important too, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're searching songs on Spotify, the first thing you watch is the cover, and if it looks good, you are going to click instantaneously.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's the best tip I can give to young producers. Like
Work
promote
on.
more the visual
Yeah.
than the music. But the
Yeah.
music is important to have good too.
Yeah, so your music should be good, but uh, what you're saying is you should focus on your visual brand and the aesthetics and the way your music looks in general. Then you would do that before like promoting posts on Facebook with your track targeted and stuff like that.
Yeah, for example, if I launch a song and I want to promote it on Instagram, I'm
Hmm.
not going to publish a video of the visualizer of the song. I'm going to publish a photo of me or a cat or something that grabs attention,
Yeah.
but related to me because I'm promoting myself.
Hmm.
And then the second post, when you slide to the right, it's going to be the song, and the link is on bio. That's really important. Like grab attention of the people with the photo,
Hmm.
they are going to like it, read the
Hmm.
description, and then link is in bio, and they click, and I already by the click gained the stream. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important to try to dodge the algorithms, because if a lot of people click on the link on my bio and I get a lot of streams, I'm going to push the algorithm to help me getting more streams, and people found me on release Friday or the own private playlist they have. So that's a really good important tip, like grab
Yeah,
attention of the people before they hear the music.
yeah, exactly. So you're trying to, with the right visuals, get the attention to read the description and then the click to the bio. So you're trying to get more natural attention than promoted because you believe that doesn't work that much, not as much as
When you're
visual.
starting out,
Yeah, when you're starting
no,
out.
when you're starting out, like buying do not buy fake followers on first place.
No, no,
That's
no,
a half.
no,
Like if you
definitely.
are 13 years old and you made a beat on GarageBand, and if
Yeah,
it has a million likes,
no,
it's no, no, that doesn't work.
no,
But
but
like you
everybody
can buy
sees that,
promotion.
and even if you do it like a super step by step, like nobody would notice. Even if you do it like that, it could work, but you're just faking yourself. I mean, what if a label contacts you and stuff, and they're not gonna contact you if your music isn't that professional as the number of stats you got as well. So yeah, I think it is a long way to keep it honest, but I think it's the only way that will last long as well. Quick success is
Mhm.
quick downfall, in my opinion. I'm afraid. Yeah.
A lot of a lot of talented producers that I know that
Hmm.
have like 100 followers on Instagram or 200, and they release on Dharma, they release on Mix Smash Records, like
Yeah.
Traxon. He has 600 followers, I think,
Hmm.
and they are really talented. Like they understand the thing,
Yeah.
and they don't need that much of attention on your socials, which is important. But
Yeah.
like it's not a necessary thing to release songs.
No, it's not about the followers. It is about the quality of the music and the image that you can. How do you say it? The image that you give to the world in combination with your music. It's the whole picture, of course, and people are gonna love that or hate that and keep an eye on you, and then you get real attention and real followers. And
Mhm.
but it
Yes,
starts with the music and the brand around it, of course. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So that's a great tip, man. I think a lot of people can use that as well. So I think we are somehow at an end. What are your plans for today or this weekend?
I think I'm now finish a song,
That's
which
super
is called
surprising for a producer, man.
yeah, which is called Run and Hide, and I'm planning on recording a video clip to it and like make a really really push promotion, because like there are songs that you do that you know that are going to work, so it's really important to spend a little bit of money if you can. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do this weekend, like prepare the release. Like I have the release date, I have the cover art, like having everything set up for
cool,
the day I publish everything.
cool. So you're finishing something up, a new piece of
Yes.
art going to out there and checking out how that
Mhm.
works for you. Okay, cool, man.
Yes.
So yeah, I want to thank you, of course, for your time and for trying this out with us for the first time.
Mhm.
I'm super happy. Everything worked as far as I can see now on our part. So I think
Mhm.
that we are gonna round this up. And yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, thank you for inviting me.
No problem, man. Thank you.